All right, so we got to start the episode with where things stand in the West. It is chaos. It is time for the cleaning lady to come over and take out our trash. There's 2 weeks left. There's 26 teams that can make the play-in or the playoffs, which is just surreal. And all these arbitrary rules could possibly stop these teams from tanking, and they have. The biggest event, of course, that has changed recently, the biggest update, is the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings, for the first time in a gajillion years, put a hurting on the Blazers G League lineup to the tune of a 40-point win. For the first time in 16 years, the Kings clinch on that beam as the 3 seed. Warm me up on that beam, baby. As everyone knows, we've been talking about the Kings. Been excited about the Kings all year. A lot of people thought that they would falter, but they did not collapse. They actually got better as the season went on. And now, they're not just only going to the playoffs or the play-in. They'll host at least the first round. It speaks to, one, how good Mike Brown has been. He's obviously coach of the year, hands down. But really just how the ownership has changed and how that ownership has changed the entire dynamic of this franchise. Vivek Randy Vay, it's hard to say. Learned a lot, obviously, as an owner. He had Luke Walton, got Luke Walton the fuck out, made sure to get a competent head coach to come in for him, put the organization in the hands of a bunch of people who knew what they were doing, like Monty McNair, and all of a sudden, couple of good trades, couple of good draft picks, and boom, you are a good team. Just like that. Playoff time. So Tom Ziller, the thing that I think is really interesting is because people talk about, this is a 16-year playoff drought. But it's sort of, and Tom Ziller, check him out if you don't know him. Tom Ziller wrote an article about just how that understates how bad the Kings have had it in the last 16 years. Because it's not that they just missed the playoffs for 16 straight years. 7 of those 16 years, they were under siege. The Maloof organization, the Maloofs, as a family, as an ownership group of the Kings, tried to actively move the Kings out of Sacramento for like almost a decade, 7 straight years. You had mayors getting involved. You had the cities rioting. Fan base putting up flyers. 7 years this dude tried to move the team. Tried to move it to Anaheim. They wouldn't sell to an owner that would say on purpose, we're going to keep it in Sacramento. Maloof wouldn't sell to that person. So to call it just a playoff drought is sort of spitting in the face of how bad it was. Then you enter Vivek. He has this plan to rebuild the team, even though we all know it didn't work at first. Hired Luke Walton. Everybody gets a mulligan. He looked like he was going to be a good coach. Obviously was under Steve Kerr's tutelage. Vivek obviously likes some Steve Kerr. Mike Brown coming from the Steve Kerr tree as well. But when we look back, things started to turn around when Vivek built Golden One in 2016. Here's what he said about what Golden One means. Listen, we're not just going to build an arena. I want to build the best that's ever been built. He told this to Carmichael Dave recently in an interview. He explained he got the idea of the purple beam from airplanes. What if we had purple lights on the roof? When I'm flying, then I can tell that the Kings are in the house. What a baller. He just wanted a bat signal to know whether the Kings were in the building or not. He said, I had this idea that people used to gather around a fire in the Middle Ages. They used to gather around cathedrals. The arena is the 21st century cathedral. So the purple beam is an outgrowth of making the Golden One the center of Sacramento. That's incredible. What an amazing analogy. De'Aaron Fox, also the Golden One Center, we've talked about this before. I just want to stamp it again. Top 3 arena in the NBA. If I could create an arena that wasn't Madison Square Garden, because Madison Square Garden is just different. Let's be honest, Madison Square Garden is also pretty old. But if I could create an arena from scratch, Golden One would be the blueprint. Purple beam and all. The glass atrium, the bar up top, it's standing room only down to the court. The fact that you can see the court when you enter the building, like stadium vibe, like Roman Coliseum vibe, lit. Anyway, De'Aaron Fox explains what it was like to snap this playoff drought.
And that 16-year streak.
Oh, it feels good, to just get that horse off your back. So, like you said, we want to do bigger things, but to get, 16 years, that's a long time. So I think it feels great just being able to get that off of us.
So Sacramento's in.